Based off of today's blockbuster trade, at least that's what some NFL talking heads are calling it, I decided to give you guys some more trade rumors because the trade deadline is approaching very, very quickly. In case you've been living under a rock, the Cleveland Browns traded Joe Flacco in division to the Cincinnati Bengals for a fifth-round pick. Welcome in, NFL fans, to NFL Daily by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and on today's episode, I'm going to tell you all about these crazy NFL trade rumors, but maybe not so crazy because I do believe all of these could actually happen. So we're going to talk more trade rumors nearing the NFL trade deadline. I think it's also important to at least point out to you when the NFL trade deadline is approaching. That would be November 4th of this year, which sounds like forever away, but believe it or not, it's less than 1 month away, week 9 of the NFL season. So, in case your team is in the buying or the selling market, that's when you can expect any trade to happen between now and then. And if you want to become a smarter football fan, I'm not talking about just trade rumors. We're talking news, rumors, everything you need about the NFL under the bright yellow sun. Make sure you hit subscribe to Chat Sports today. We will help you become a smarter football fan. Let's jump into the trade candidates, shall we? First one, a name that you've probably seen a couple of times, maybe a few times on this channel itself. Breece Hall, the running back for the New York Jets. And the goddamn Jets, man. I hate to use that word, but good God, can they do anything right? They hire Aaron Glenn from the Detroit Lions, who is a defensive specialist. And get this, their defense sucks. And Breece Hall has been one of those players that going back to last offseason was named as a trade candidate. When Glenn took the job, he said, no. We're not trading Breece Hall. Well, now you might want to because he's like the lone lighter in the darkness, I guess you could call it. Like he's the lone flame on this Jets offense. I mean, outside of Garrett Wilson, true, right? Because like they have Garrett Wilson, he's awesome too. But Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson are like the only two things that matter on this football team. And here's the other things you need to know about the Jets. What are their woes so far in the season? The Jets are 0-5, only winless team in the NFL. They have terrible wide receivers outside of Garrett Wilson and are in a full rebuild. And if you are a Jets fan and you're like, we're not in a rebuild, that's pathetic. Because if you're not in a rebuild, then I would hate to see what you look like when you are. But here's what Pro Football Trade Rumors just came out with just about 2 days ago on a Breece Hall trade. Elsewhere on the Jets roster, running back Breece Hall is still the subject of speculation regarding a trade. Glenn assured the 24-year-old would not be dealt this past offseason, but as of August, a swap remains something to watch for as the campaign unfolded. Given the start to the season, the Jets are not in contention for a playoff berth. That's pretty early to say because, I mean, theoretically, anybody can run the gauntlet, but it's not going to be the Jets. Here's why I don't think this one would end up happening this season. If this injury to Braylon Allen didn't occur, you'd probably be looking at a Breece Hall trade like yesterday. But with Braylon Allen being out for essentially the rest of the NFL season, you're looking most likely at Breece Hall staying on the Jets. However, I'd make this trade today. The more draft capital that you can get, I mean, hell, you're most likely going to get the first overall pick according to what you're at right now. So you might as well just completely do an overhaul for the New York Jets. I mean, starting today, get as many draft picks as you can, and that includes getting a higher pick for Breece Hall. Let's move into our second trade candidate, Jakobi Meyers of the Las Vegas Raiders. Just like the Jets, maybe not nearly as bad, but still dysfunctional and a dumpster fire, the Las Vegas Raiders have not had anything go right since their Week 1 win against the New England Patriots. Jakobi Meyers is one of those players that I think has so much talent to be a great number 2, probably not a number 1. But with that being said, he is also one of the lone bright spots in that wide receiver room outside of Dante Thornton for the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, the Raiders have so many problems. Wide receiver is not one of them. Geno Smith continues to turn the ball over at a very impressive rate, I might add. But Jakobi Meyers, I'm just going to come out and say it. Here's the trade proposal because this one has a lot of legs. The Cardinals, who are desperate for wide receiver talent, and who could end up having a number 2 right behind Marvin Harrison Jr., who's had his own problems, would get Jakobi Meyers, and the Raiders would get a third-round pick. I don't think the Raiders are in a rebuild because of all of the talent that they brought in the offseason with Pete Carroll now at the helm. And I actually don't hate the Raiders roster. I think they're just so dysfunctional as an organization, nothing can go right. But Alex Kay, the one who proposed this trade, here's what she said. One player who could return a strong amount of draft capital is Jakobi Meyers, the veteran wideout who has been one of the few consistent playmakers for this downtrodden club in recent years. Yeah, the Raiders, they're not good. But if you look at the numbers, he's clearly getting targeted a lot. He's got 25 receptions in 5 games for 290 yards. Has yet to find the end zone, but honestly, the Raiders have yet to find the end zone really that much. I mean, they're just not very good. Here's why it makes sense for the Raiders. You got to move off of somebody, right? You're too dysfunctional not to. You're not going to move off of Pete Carroll, at least not yet, I don't think. And you paid Geno Smith all that money. So, could you end up getting a third-round pick for the likes of Jakobi Meyers? It's possible. And I don't think keeping a wide receiver with all this dysfunction makes a whole lot of sense. Because if you're a Raiders fan saying, the only thing great we've got going right now is Jakobi Meyers, that's not a great thing. I know Ashton Genty is starting to come on strong, but he's got a long way to go before he's to be considered an elite running back. So would you make this trade proposal? Yes or no? I'd probably do this. Not going to lie, the Raiders are the Raiders, but getting more draft capital, trying to rebuild this franchise. I know Raiders fans want their team to be good every single year, just like all of us, but they really have a passion for their football team, so I think I'd make this deal. Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. Before we get on to our second and final 2 trade candidates, I have to tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Did you know that Prize Picks is rocking with this brand new feature? It's called Stacks. So essentially what you can do if you wanted to pick a player like Josh Allen on his passing yards, his rushing yards, and his rushing touchdowns, you could totally do that in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. And speaking of lineups, I have a lineup. Well, maybe I don't. Maybe I'll just tell you how to play, and that's fine too. Here's how you play. Pick the player, more or less on their stat projections, win up to 2,000 times your money on Prize Picks. It really is that simple. I have to get on my lineup for Week 6. Shame I haven't done that yet. All you got to do is download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. I'll have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. Let's talk very briefly about that second, and those final 2, I should say, trade candidates, because the next 2 are going to be kind of eye-opening. And by the way, in case you were like, none of these trades ever happened, why do you guys make these videos? I actually called this one the last time I made a trade video. Adam Thielen to the Minnesota Vikings. I had said the Vikings were looking to trade for Adam Thielen, and then they did like a week later. So I do have at least a small hit rate on what I'm talking about. Let's go into our third candidate. Riley Moss, cornerback for the Denver Broncos, one of the only white corners in the NFL, just calling a spade and an elephant in the room. But Riley Moss has one of the toughest jobs in the NFL, and that's playing alongside the best cornerback in the league in Pat Surtain. And Riley Moss, look, he's had moments where he looks outstanding. I'm not going to lie to you. And I think that's why his trade value would be a lot higher than a lot of other cornerbacks. There are moments where he just looks locked down. But for every 5 plays, if 4 of them are lockdowns, the next play is a 50-yard bomb down the sideline. He just gives up way too many big plays and is one of the most targeted corners in the game. Now, whether or not you believe that's because Pat Surtain is number 1, so of course they're going to target Riley Moss more, that's fine. I get it. But the truth is that there have been multiple plays this year for the Denver Broncos where Riley Moss just gets cooked. I mean, every single game, it's like he gives up a 25-plus yard play again and again and again. And his coverage grade sucks. He's got no interceptions, so he's not making plays on the ball. He's just trying his best to keep receivers in front of him. And now he's physical. He's got talent. I think there are a lot of teams that would clamor for a player like Riley Moss. He is absolutely a starting caliber corner in this league, but if you look at the Broncos cornerback room, they drafted Jahdae Barron in the first round, and I know he's a nickel corner, plays the slot a lot more than he plays outside, but Sean Payton has gone out and said they're going to make this kid an outside corner at some point. So the writing is on the wall. This is going to be his spot maybe next year, maybe later this season if Riley continues to get cooked. And if the Broncos end up moving Jahdae out, they're going to probably want to at least get something in return for Riley Moss rather than cutting him because he's too good to cut. So that's my third. Let's go to our final one. Probably someone that you're going to disagree with wholeheartedly. Jeffery Simmons, the basic bright spot on the Tennessee Titans defense, maybe the team as a whole. Before you come after me in the comments section, there's a reason that I have Jeffery Simmons as a trade candidate. The Titans are also in a rebuild. And there is one team starving for defensive line talent, the Chicago Bears, who have one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. It's terrible. Jeffery Simmons is a tree stump of a human being, both as a unit and as somebody who plays on the defensive line. He's just so damn good. And before, again, like I said, you come after me in the comments section, a Titans blog actually listed this as a trade rumor. Here's what they said, Titan-sized. The arrival of Simmons would be immediately improving the Chicago Bears defense, which is in need of pass rushers and run stoppers. Simmons excels in both areas and could form a dominant duo with edge rusher Montez Sweat. He's already besides one Sweat, by the way, on that Titans defensive line. For years, the Bears defense has done the heavy lifting. Now that the offense is showing signs of improvement, the defense has regressed. Simmons can help out balance Chicago's problems this season. Boy, could he. Because good God, look at the numbers. 22 tackles, 6 for loss, 3.5 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, and a PFF grade of 82.5. Simmons is insane. He took this offseason very seriously. He lost a bunch of weight, came in more athletic and more powerful than he's ever looked, and it is paying off. The Tennessee Titans, by the way, have their own set of problems. They have no offensive identity. It's Cam Ward, and pray to God that that offensive line holds up. They've got a lack of weapons. I know Calvin Ridley has kind of emerged that last game against the Arizona Cardinals, but let's be real, he's been mostly bad this entire season. And they're most likely firing Brian Callahan. They are one field goal miss away from being 0-5. They stink. They need a complete overhaul, which means draft picks, which means a new head coach to pair with young Cam Ward. Before I get on out of here today, what NFL player is most likely to be traded next? You let me know in the comment section down below. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of NFL Daily by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. Subscribe and like the video for more content just like this. And as always, be cool.